Hey, it's Aaron, and this review is brought to you by my ability to make coffee. Anyway, today I want to talk about the 2026 Kia K4. The K4 replaced the Forte, so it's Kia's small car, compact car. It is in two formats. There's a regular sedan version, and then there's a station wagon version. I drove the wagon version, and I would prefer that anyway, even if I had been given a choice as to which one. Anyway, after a week in this car, I really like it. New this year is this hatchback body style, which is basically a station wagon. It has a few equipment shuffles, but nothing really major there. And it's part of the first generation of the K4, which came out in 2025, so just last year. It is a really right-sized little sedan or little vehicle. The back seat has more legroom than most in this category. Plenty of cargo room in the wagon version. That's going to be true no matter what, right? So if any of the others were in a wagon, they would be like that. The Corolla Cross, good example. And for more to look at the interior of this Kia, I did a full interior walkthrough. I'll link to that video down in the description. It's not as fuel efficient because it's not a hybrid. Most of the others in this class have turned to hybrid or to very small engines. So they're using tiny little like 3-cylinder and sub 2-liter displacements and stuff. And so their fuel economy is much better, but this drives better than most of the others as a result. Not including hybrids. Toyota does know how to make a really good hybrid that drives nicely now. So you might cross compare a little bit, but price tag wise, this one will beat it out. So the Kia is much cheaper than the others, relatively speaking. It has a couple of engine options, so I'll go over those, and then we'll talk about fuel economy and price. For power plants in this, there is a base engine and then there is a turbocharged version. The turbo is just called the GT line or GT turbo, depending on who you ask. So the GT line model or trim level is where you get that. That's what I drove, and it's what I would recommend if you can spend that little bit of extra money to get it. It's a much more robust engine in terms of output and feel. It's not a speed demon. You're still over 7 seconds for that 0 to 60 sprint. But in this segment, that's pretty good, actually. A lot of cars in this segment favor fuel economy, and so they'll end up taking forever to get up to speed. However, unless they're specifically sport trimmed. The base engine I haven't driven, so I can't really talk about it, but it looks like a lot of people find it really dead sluggish. So if you're okay with that, you should test drive one of these in both configurations and see. I would say for most buyers, the base engine is probably fine because that's the kind of thing that somebody like me or an enthusiast would care about. Regular people probably don't care that much. You will get a big fuel economy boost by staying with that base engine. So fuel economy in this is 30 mpg in the hatchback model. It's a little better in the sedan, and that is with the base engine. When you go to the turbo engine, you're going to lose about 2 points off that number. And that's a combined EPA MPG. In the real world, in the turbo model with the hatchback that I drove, that wagon was able to pull about 29 mpg as an average, and I was not stomping it. If I had been stomping it, I would have got far worse. So I was pretty judicious with that pedal. If you're willing to do that most of the time, you should probably see similar numbers. The turbo made a big difference where I live because I am at very high altitude at 6,400 feet, and the turbo actually fixes most of that problem. So turbocharged engines, because they're forcing air, don't have the oxygen choke that a regular engine does at this altitude. So that's a point in its favor. MPGs are good because of that. Price. Let's talk about price tag. So you're going to start out in the LX package. That's the base model. And that starts at about $25 after you've paid the destination fee. So the MSRP is $23,535. You can pay about $1,500 for that destination. So there you go. After that, you have the LXS, which is probably the most popular because it comes with lots of interior goodies, you know, heated seats and a better interface and things like that. All the safety equipment is the same across the board with a couple of minor exceptions, but all the safety equipment is across the board, so none of that changes as you go through the model trims. The LXS is probably the most popular, and what you probably will be looking at if you're buying one of these. The price on that is $24,635 MSRP, so you're going to pay about $26. And then after that is the EX, the GT line, and the GT line Turbo. Those go up in price. The one that I drove, which was the GT line Turbo, that one's going to run you about $30,000 plus your destination fee. That is the most expensive of these. So very good prices here. And those prices, by the way, are the sedan. Looking at the hatchback, you only have 3 trim levels, and those start at $26,235 for the EX. So it basically skips the first 2 trim models and goes straight to the last 3. So you're going to spend about a little over $26 for that one. So once you pay the destination and stuff, it's going to be about a little under $28. It's going to be probably $27,700 would be the number, I would say. So there you go for price tag. Overall, I really like this car. I love the look of it. This gold color that I had it in was phenomenal. Just really good looking. I really enjoyed this car, and it would be on my short list were I looking for a compact, especially a compact wagon style. There aren't very many of those available right now that aren't moving into SUVs. So very, very nice. I really enjoyed this car. Very well done. All right. This has been Aaron. Talk to you again soon.